Today, I'm going to be showcasing a prototype of my keyset, DSA Sylph Potion. It's currently available for pre-order until this Sunday, May 14th, 2023. I'll also be building a special keyboard with a commissioned case from SM Keyboards, which will be available as a limited edition keyboard case that you can purchase from their online store. I'll have more information about it at the end, but for now, let's go ahead and jump right into the build. This commissioned case is a stacked acrylic case for the Rect 1800 by Canon keys, and I specifically chose this PCB because I really like the layout and wanted to show off the novelty keycaps on the number pad. This case features frosted white opaque layers with light blue hardware, and the back has a potion bottle engraving based on one of the novelties I designed. In addition to the case, it also came with some extra hardware, as well as case foam and switch foam, which I added onto my order from SM Keyboards. The first step to this build is adding stabilizers, so I'm gonna go with pink Durock V2 stabs. For these, I used the included adhesive dampening pads for the PCB, then used 205G0 on the housings. I assembled them, then installed them onto the PCB with an electric screwdriver. I'll be adding stabilizer grease to the wires later in the build. Now that the stabs are on the PCB, I'm going to open up the case to grab the switch plate. I placed the PCB on my work mat, laid down the switch plate foam, then the switch plate on top. For switches, I'm going to be using Penguin Tactile switches from Kinetic Labs. I've used these in builds in the past, and I thought they were pretty fun. The blue housings also match the set really well, so I'm pretty excited to pair them with these keycaps. I also want to note that Kinetic Labs recommends at least 67-gram springs for the spacebar and modifiers, so I did swap the springs on a handful of them for those specific keys. Since this PCB requires soldering, I'm going to be wearing a respirator and safety goggles for this part of the build. I like to solder in switches a few at a time, so I started out in the corners and worked my way around the PCB. For the spacebar and modifier specific switches with the swapped out springs, I soldered those in last. And here's the finished PCB sandwich. It's now ready to be placed into the keyboard case, so I grabbed it and opened it back up. I just want to note that while I did purchase case foam for this build, I decided not to add it because I wanted to be able to see the finished PCB through the frosted bottom of the case. Now that the PCB sandwich is in, I close the case back up. I brought out my stabilizer grease syringe kit for the wires, using a stem holder to help distribute it and work it in. Shortly after, the stabilizers were finished, so the keyboard is now ready for keycaps. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this is the prototype keycap set for DSA Sylph Potion, so I did receive it in the special prototype packaging from the manufacturer. I'm super happy with how this keyset prototype turned out, but I did make a few changes that will be implemented during production, such as a huge shift on the pink keycaps and a few adjustments to some novelties and text. If you haven't realized it yet, the profile for this keyset is DSA. I went with Infinikey for the manufacturer, and it will be produced by the Keycaps company, so make sure to visit their website before the last day of the pre-order period on May 14th for more information and to see international vendors. I'll also have links for all of these below. If you've missed my post on Instagram, the main inspiration behind this set is the Pokemon Sylveon and its color theme, but many of the novelties were also inspired by other elements of fairy Pokemon. I'll have more information at the end of this video if you're interested. Despite those few changes I mentioned, this is a pretty accurate representation of how the set will look for production, and I'm super excited to finally see it on this keyboard. I had a lot of fun playing with the novelty keycap placements, and seeing the keycaps on the number pad area was also really exciting. I've also been working with a lot of artists and keycap designers to create collaborative pieces for DSA Sylph Potion, and one of them is Capsmiths. I've worked with them in the past to show off some of their artisans, and I'm such a fan of their work, so it's a huge honor to collaborate with them for my first key set. These were made to match the pink and blue from the set, and I think they look pretty awesome on this build. These are available for pre-order as well, and I'll have a link for these down below, as well as a link to the official Sylph Potion cables from Personal Loot. Now the keyboard build is finished, and here's how it looks. This was the very first keyboard I built just for my Keyset, and it came out exactly as I had pictured it. If you like how this build looks and want to work on something similar to this, I'll have everything listed below. However, don't wait too long, as some of these items are going to be limited edition, like the keyboard case and the Artisans. For the Keyset, again, these are available for pre-order right now until May 14th. I'm so excited for everyone to finally get their hands on this set, and I can't wait to see everyone's Sylph Potion builds. Like I mentioned while adding the Keyset to my build earlier, the inspiration behind this set is the Pokemon Sylveon in its color theme, but you'll also find other elements related to fairy Pokemon throughout the novelties. For example, the Heart Diamond was based on Diancie, the keys off of Klefki, and the tall potion bottle off of the Pokemon TCG card Fairy Drops. I also have general Pokemon references throughout the set as well, such as Pokepuffs, rare candies, and more. At the time of filming this video, I've only received my Artisan from Capsmiths since I built this keyboard back in October of last year before I reached out to anyone else. So unfortunately, at this time, I don't have any footage on here of the other amazing Artisans and accessories that will be available, but you can find those pieces featured on my Instagram. I know I haven't been as active on here lately, and that's because I decided to focus on sharing more builds on Instagram and TikTok instead. However, I do plan to jump back on here soon with a few more builds, as well as some keyboard shorts. Thank you everyone for your support and interest in my Keyset DSA Sylph Potion, and thank you all for watching!